Hi, and welcome back to the discussion on how to implement Gen AI in banking financial services. What we've seen in the earlier presentation is that customers are increasingly comfortable with and demanding about technology-driven experiences now. And what they really are ready for is a movement from plain old Subhashni to Gen AI Subhashni. So this is what will be the face of AI communications. They will remain to be bots. Smarter bots is what's going to be around. And that means that these bots, which are generally working on rule-based or task-oriented processes, will move to become AI-powered virtual assistants, assistants who can do fraud detection, dynamic cross-selling, send links and arrange for callbacks, right? And they will be able to have conversational AI with the lead qualification and automated loan processing abilities. So what we are thinking of is speech, text, and images will be flowing freely from both sides, and the bots will have to be able to make the best sense of it. Most of it will be mobile driven. Now, what's the great part of it? The first part of it is that process is set. In banking, though today the communication could be an issue, it's not that processes are an issue. So processes are set. Good. The second point is software is set. So the backend is completely sorted. There are very few glitches today in the backend. The banking processes are able to scale up. So what's the biggest challenge? In my view, to get Gen AI running, curating the right data is going to be the biggest challenge. Okay. So yes, it is true that you will need a new database from which the Gen AI will be ready to, converse or interact. The good news is some of the data, or even in some cases, a lot of the data will work for customers, employees, and vendors. So they will be across stakeholders, and hybrid databases will perform well. So you already have RDBMS databases where you have data well structured, well created, with the synthetic data part of it coming through, and a new RDBMS getting created, plus the DBMS where you have a lot of unstructured data, especially as files get processed or of interactions between the bank and the customer. The LLM will have a great set of information on which it can work. Also, in the world today, we are seeing the emergence of banking only databases. So Kai GPT is one such database where you can get information and advice on banking of many kinds across risk profiles, sales, etc. Also, you will see that Bloomberg has created Bloomberg GPT, which you can use for stock market type of databases, right? So the question will always become, should you create a LLM model from scratch, or should you go with the existing models? We know that ChatGPT does not allow you to sort of train the algorithm on your model. You can, of course, add your model into any of these vast oceans of information, but it does not really allow you unfettered use. So if you want to create your own LLM model, it's a rather long process. The important part especially will be the data processing, where you tokenize and format the data for model input, and then the tuning. The tuning of a data model to pick up something like conversational data and take it out in the right format is going to take some time. So APIs are perhaps by far one of the easy wins that we have today. Okay. Compile. So I think what will really feed these Gen AI bots would be some API driven models and some LLM models you have compiled internally. This is a simple flow that I've put out on the slide, on the presentation slide, where we are looking at someone coming and asking for what is the status of the case. Now, this could be somebody who can be your employee, it could be the customer, or it could even be your vendor, or an advisor who works with your organization. And when the person comes and says that they want to know the status on the case of customer Anand, the chatbot asks, is he an existing customer? So the person says, yes, I logged on his loan application last week. So then what happens is a prompt gets created at the back end, and this prompt is shown in the front end or can be spoken out by the chatbot in the front end for the customer to see that you are looking for a status on the case of Anand, who is an existing customer of the bank. He is in a particular location, which can be created from the employee ID table. And you can ask for a validation saying, am I correct? Yes, I logged in his loan application last week, says the customer. So this gives the chat bot just a bit of time to first bring out the first and the easiest to retrieve information, which is that Anand is on hold from credit. It or then it will look further into the comments from credit and try to convert those comments from banking terminology into the conversational language which would be understood by the customer. It could also mean a language change, into a regional language, and would tell the customer that yes, ask the customer to share a clear printout of his ID card. His application form signature is not matching. Can you please tell him to reply to the email sent to him by the bank on 28th June at this particular ID? So this gives all the information. The customer or the vendor or your employee is not running around trying to figure out any part of it, right? And then there's an additional query that the person does. How long do you think the case will take if the customer replies to the email you have sent? And that also from a structured database where you have the turnaround time, approximate turnaround times given for different process. You can just pull out and say that it should take 3 to 5 working days. And for further details, you can reach Credit Manager X. Now, what happened? This was a seamless understanding, and there was nothing structured about it. All the data is stored in RDBMS or DBMS. There's no extra information given. All prompts and word construction is from a Gen AI model. It mimics the sentence quality as per the generation of the person who's asking the question. It will also mimic the language if there is a language, a difference that is found. At the back end, therefore, what we are saying is there will not be one model. There will be multiple models which are going to kick in and seamlessly integrate. The query understanding will happen through a speech to text model. The context of finding out is it an employee, a customer, or a vendor will happen from the RDBMS tables. The query would be put through as a prompt to search through the lead management database, which could be a combination of the RDBMS plus DBMS structures. And the retrieved information would be put through a ChatGPT model to convert it into conversational output. Now, if there is a requirement to put the text into speech, that would happen. If there is a requirement to put that speech into a different language, that would happen. Also, because it is the bank's prerogative that any information or any communication has to be, from a point of law stored in the bank, what happens is an automated email, SMS, or WhatsApp message can be sent to the customer or employee or to the vendor. Now, this is one point where I want to pause and just tell you that can you even guess how much of the conversations between customers and employees are getting lost, don't hit the banking system? So what are we saying? All the easy ones, which can today be, answered in rule-based or process-based conversations, today be answered on the phone, system, etc. They are already getting answered. But all the ones that don't get answered there go into personal conversations, personal messages, SMS, WhatsApp of the employees, for to which the bank has no access. Right. So today there is actually a huge secondary level of data which is there in banking, which banks don't know anything about. They have no control over. Okay. So with this, I will pause and I will tell you that in case there are things that you want to have a discussion on, please do reach me. I would be very happy to work on such projects and to advise or have discussions around such projects. Now, what I really feel is going to happen is something like this. We spoke about Kai GPT. They have also created a customer advisory app called MyKai, and you can see that from multiple places the customer can reach that app and can start conversing with it. Then the writing is also on the wall when it comes to LLM models. The very large banks like HDFC Bank in October has declared that it will create its own LLM model and deploy it. But many others would be taking on the models which are existing. Ethical concerns will be there, data privacy concerns will be there, where I feel that the existing RDBMSs would not be possibly the place from where the first level of data will go. So there would be a lot of synthetic data creation, and that would become the layer. So what I'm saying is you would end up creating a database which feeds the Gen AI models. That is my view. Of course, these open AI models, the Gen AI models, are becoming smarter. They are becoming much more interesting, and this space is going to be a big differentiator in the near future. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and let's stay connected.